The opinions expressed here are those of the students and not necessarily reflect the positions of Tyler Junior College.
Coming up on the DrumBeat, TJC begins its annual Arts Fest with Art Club's silent auction, and later, TJC departments collaborate on an emergency situation event. The DrumBeat starts right now.
Broadcasting live from Studio 1108 in Jenkins Hall on the campus of Tyler Junior College. This is the DrumBeat, bringing you the latest from students like us.
Thank you for joining us today on the DrumBeat. I'm Santiago Nunez. TJC Art Department's silent auction will come to an end Thursday, April 6th. The art auction is part of the Art Department's Arts Fest event and raises funds for the art club by auctioning off art pieces that were made by the students over the course of the semester. Upwards of 90 pieces are up to bid, with bids ranging from $5 to $100.
It's not the first time I've sold art, but it is nice to have a way to sell art that's like legit, because as an artist, it's kind of hard to just find people that want to buy your art. So this is a good way to put it up there, people buy it, and the funds go to Art Club, and we can do more stuff.
There's a new addition to campus. Garrett Snyder tells us more.
TJC recently installed a statue in the Hartley Honor Plaza. The statue, which depicts a warrior of the Waipon Apache tribe, was designed by artist Hobbs Vincent, a former student of TJC, who took sculpting classes under Professor Derek White.
Hobbs came in, it was back in 2006, and I was teaching sculpture at the time, and he was enrolled in my sculpture class. But to be perfectly honest, he's one of those students that comes in with an amazing amount of God-given talent already. And so he knew the things that he wanted to make and came in and just was a very talented artist from the get-go.
Vincent and TJC officials worked closely with Waipon Apache leaders to make sure the statue was a respectful representation.
We entered into a partnership with the state of Texas Waipon Apaches. The first portion of that partnership involved consulting us on this sculpture to make sure that we were respectively and authentically representing the Apache, and specifically the state of Texas Waipon Apache. They came on campus. They met with the artist specifically. They looked at his design. In fact, they initially approved the visual images of the Waipon Apache that we were to provide to the artist.
The statue cost around $35,000 and has been in development for around 2 years. It was built to represent the spirit of TJC and features a Harris hawk, the species the school's mascot Harry the Hawk is based off of.
They are the only species of hawks that hunt in a clan. They're called the wolf pack of the skies. They're known for their strength and courage and ferocity. We liked that as an accompanying symbol to the Apache, as representing the spirit of TJC.
The installation of the statue marks the completion of the Hartley Honor Plaza and another step taken in the completion of TJC's master plan for the campus. I'm Garrett Snyder for TheDrumBeat.com.
A mock emergency event was hosted on April 4th for various TJC departments to get hands-on experience with a simulated emergency situation. TJC's Fire Academy, Police Academy, EMT program, Mass Communications Department, and Theater Department all collaborated on the event where a car collision and fire was simulated. According to Adam Palacios, Director of Business and Industry Partnerships, the event aimed to provide students with a lifelike scenario to develop their job skills. TJC hopes to continue to hold more emergency simulation events in the future to provide students with opportunities to gain experience before entering their professions. Coming up after the break, Garrison Nichols interviews TJC's Vice President for Institutional Management, Mitch Andrews, about projects around TJC.
I feel like her heartbeat is like same speed as mine. And I think we have this like deep connection, this heart connection in her heart, that there's room for me and mom. When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer. It's a sensory thing. It's a thing with Asperger's.
She's really good with Anya. I've seen adults react to my daughter when she has meltdowns, like she's from a different planet. And this little animal just sat next to my child and was just like, it's gonna be cool. She's my superhero.
Good job, kitty cat.
When we adopted Lucky, we discovered all the wonderful things that make her unique.
Lucky's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly she's pure love.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Yo, Scott,
Hey.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
You know what? I was just in there. The line is like 10 people long.
You know, I think I'll just...
Dude, are you okay?
You wouldn't believe what I was just thinking. I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this and I will take that ride home.
Smart man.
Did you see how the dog was looking at me?
Welcome back to the Drumbeat. I'm Garrison Nichols. Joining us today is Mitch Andrews. Mitch Andrews previously served on the Council for Advancement and Support of Education, or CASE, which is the largest foundation to support a community college in Texas, and one of the top 3 nationally. Mr. Andrews currently serves as the Executive Director for the Tyler Junior College Foundation, Vice President for Institutional Advancement, and the Chief Advancement Officer. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Andrews.
Absolutely.
So the first question I have for us today is that it's clear that you hold a lot of titles, and there's not a lot of college students that exactly know what that is and what you do. But it is for sure that it's very important. So would you like to elaborate on what some of your responsibilities are?
Absolutely. Institutional advancement at TJC focuses all on resource development. So, my particular area of the college really brings all different types of resources to the institution to help continue to build TJC in support of student and community success. That can include all different types of funding, including philanthropic fundraising from individuals, corporations, private family foundations. It can include grants that come to us to the governmental sector, state and national level, as well as engaging alumni for the college to lead in all different types of capacities. So,
okay. Seems like you've got a lot of time on your hands.
Well, I tell you the other focus of my job, that's Vice President of Institutional Advancement, but there's also Executive Director of the Tyler Junior College Foundation. I'm the administrative leader of our foundation, which is right now over $90 million in assets. And as you mentioned in your introduction, we are the largest support organization for a community college in the state of Texas and one of the 3 largest nationally. So we're very proud of that growth and what the foundation is able to do for students, faculty, programs at TJC, as well as our community.
Yeah, for sure. There's also a construction project underway in an area near the White Administration Building.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the student body is curious about what the project entails. So would you be able to give us more information about that?
I will. Ironically, that overall campus beautification project began back in 2001 when I started at TJC. We had a donor that was interested in providing a whole series of really garden sites on campus. They recognized the beauty of TJC and how these could be created in a way that would serve our students, faculty and staff, and also in some points are attractions for the community as well too. The area behind the White Administrative Services Center is one of 7 garden sites planned across the internal area of our TJC campus, beginning at the White Administrative Services Center. That one is called the President's Garden, but will officially be named the Elizabeth Sweet Peacock Marsh Garden by an individual who is funding that garden 100% privately in honor of her mother, who was a gardener. It's a formal type garden. It is styled like an English garden with different types of set hedges and blooming perennials that come up all through the year. We have that garden now on the campus. We have the Gatewood Garden, which is in the courtyard of Jenkins Hall. We have the Brundred Azalea Garden. We have the Sutton Cultural Arts Plaza between the Rogers Palmer Performing Arts Center and the Wise Cultural Arts Center. Then we just opened the new Hartley Honors Plaza, which features the new sculpture, The Spirit of TJC. Those are all funded privately by contributors who believe in providing those type of outdoor spaces to enhance the whole look of TJC and to provide those for our students, faculty, and programs. So
Definitely very thankful for that.
Mhm.
Moving on to the next question. Would you be able to share what other projects are being planned for construction and your plans to implement them?
Sure, absolutely. Right now we're working on finishing repurposing and renovation of the new Ornelas Center for Band, Apache Bells, and Dance. That was previously a health and physical education activity facility, which really was out of date. And we're currently planning a new health and physical education facility that's part of our new master plan. TJC is approaching our centennial, 100 years, believe it or not. And we went through a strategic plan, then a master plan to identify what our priority needs for physical resources across all TJC campuses and sites. So there's a series of physical buildings on this campus now that our trustees are prioritizing. And then we're going to work through a market and feasibility study to determine how we fund those as well. But they're going to provide great new resources to TJC students.
For sure. That makes sense. So moving on, can you tell us what kind of impact you expect the implementation of the master plan to have on future generations of TJC students?
I think it's going to be significant for future generations of TJC students. There are many elements of the master plan that serve students in different capacities. One of them is a one-stop shop for student services, which will house financial aid, our registrar, admissions, all the elements that a student needs to address to be able to register for classes and be admitted to TJC, all in one area, one building. So we stop running our students all over campus to address those services that they need, to be able to attend the college. In doing that, we're relocating some services out of the Rogers Student Center, and that will become a true student center. We're going to renovate that. That will provide all different types of activity and gathering spaces for our students to serve, our 1,200 students that live on campus, as well as our broad student body. We're also planning a new educational facility, which is needed. We're really busting at the seams, trying to host all our different educational programming. So that facility is an example of another part of the master plan that will serve our students. And probably important to many students, parking, additional parking. We always hear that's a problem because all students typically want to go between 10 and 2, those rush hours, we call it, because many have jobs or that's really their preference to attend classes. So we'll be addressing additional parking as well within the master plan.
Moving on to the last question, what do you think has been or possibly will be the most influential project with the capacity to make the biggest impact on TJC students?
From the master plan specifically?
Yeah, I think it's probably the best.
Yeah, I would say probably overall, I'd say the educational facility, the one-stop shop, and the student center. Those are the three. Now, I did not mention that we're also planning a new health and physical education facility as well that will serve both the students and the community. So those four combined, I think, will have the broadest impact on the broadest set of students at TJC.
For sure. Okay. Well, I want to thank you for your responses to these questions, and thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it. Coming up after the break, an interview with Thomas Hill, a two-time NCAA men's basketball champion who now coaches for TJC.
In 4 days. There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children. She didn't know what to do. Did you have a good day at school? She gave them some broth without any bread. There you go. And kiss them all soundly.
Night night.
Good night. And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers. He connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back to the Drumbeat. Joining us now is Coach Thomas Hill. Thomas Hill is a two-time NCAA men's basketball champion with Duke University Blue Devils and a three-time All-Atlantic Coast Conference honors. He is also honored with an AP and UPI All-American honorable mention for basketball. Mr. Hill was also the second-round pick for the Indiana Pacers and continued to play professionally for 8 years. He is now an assistant coach for TJC men's basketball and has been in the coaching scene for over 2 decades. Joining us is Mr. Hill. Thank you.
Good to be here, Garrison.
So to get us into the questions, what skills have you seen translate the most from your career playing professionally to your coaching career?
Yeah, I would think the communication and organizational skills are probably the two biggest. Being a coach, you definitely have to be a really good communicator and just being organized. Yeah,
that's a fair point, I think. And so moving on, March Madness happened recently, and I know TJC isn't directly involved, but what kind of effect did March Madness have on TJC basketball in particular?
Yeah, I think it had a big effect in with respects to the kids or our players. They want to play in that March Madness event, so that's kind of motivating them. But yeah, it has a huge effect on the levels under Division I for sure. A lot of these players want to make it to that level.
Sure. I think that's a good point to make. And our next question that we have is, what are the biggest challenges you face in the coaching of student athletes, you think?
To be honest, I don't have a lot of huge challenges. I think, at the end of the day, it's communicating and relating to players. Being a former player, I think I understand where our guys and most players are coming from and want to go. So, it's kind of just leading them in that direction. I honestly, in my 20 years of coaching, I haven't had major struggles or problems with our players or with any player I've been involved with.
I think it's a good sign.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Absolutely. What is one piece of advice that you would give to players on or off the courts?
I think one of the biggest pieces of advice I could give is to be organized and be clear what your objectives are. Why you do what you do is what I tell a lot of players. If you have goals, if you set goals, stay focused on those goals. Don't let the distractions off the court, kind of hamper that. Whatever that dream is or that path is that you want to be on. So, just stay focused and don't get caught up with the distractions.
Sure.
Yeah, it's probably the biggest.
Okay. So I know our meeting here is a little bit brief, but I just want to thank you for having you on and your excellent answers to the questions. So
great to be here. Hope to come on again.
Okay, thank you. Coming up after the break, we talk to students about their connection to art in this week's Drumbeat on the Street.
You told me not to talk to strangers. You told me not to cross the street without looking both ways.
You told me not to touch the stove. You told me not to do drugs. You told me not to drink and drive.
You gave me so many messages about how to stay safe. Why didn't you keep me safe by properly storing your gun?
I think it's just vapor with flavor.
It won't hurt my kid like cigarettes, right?
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
My kid?
My kid knows it's dangerous.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping, maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Every day,
Millions of people are
connected.
and even though we're overcoming obstacles,
Watching each other's backs,
and banding together.
we should still make an effort
We should still make an
to
effort.
get to know each other.
On a deeper level.
Father,
Cosplayer,
Mentor.
actor.
it's time we take a step forward
It's time we take a step forward, come together,
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us
stronger.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? But now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome back to the Drumbeat. Here's one last story. On this week's episode of Drumbeat on the Street, in honor of TJC's annual Art Fest, I asked TJC students what art means to them.
Art is, I feel like it's really important in the world because there's so many different types of art, like, paintings, music, like literature, all of that's art, especially for music with me, because there's music's such art because there's all different types of music, and any different type of music can make you feel any type of specific way. So art is a very important thing to me because of just how beautiful and necessary it is in the world.
Art is a way to express yourself and be able to create what you want to create and be able to show the world what you see as you see the world. That's what it means to me, be able to express yourself.
Art is something that I see myself as an expression, or it is something basically like you see around everywhere. So art is like a form of expression or something that is beautiful in its own way, and everything is art for me. Like everything around the world is art, like a simple ball or like the trees, everything is art.
Art means to me is like artists like showing their talent and showing their expressive abilities through art by whatever they want to draw and do in life. Like it's create a special part of what they are encountering.
Thank you for joining us today for the Drumbeat. Remember, you can always find the latest news at thedrumbeat.com, and we'll see you on our next broadcast on April 17th.